What's up everybody, Coach Mills here, coming at you with a brand new Valorant video. In this video, we're going to be breaking down some secrets to how the rank system works according to a Riot dev and why there are certain ways to potentially abuse the system that Riot is actively trying to prevent. There's a lot we got to talk about and break down, so let's jump right into it. Now, senior competitive designer Evil Moore is incredibly transparent about the ranked process, and he often will give us little insights into how the rank system works in his Twitter threads Ranked Fact Friday. And in this one, I thought it was particularly interesting, and it talks a lot about RR loss and AFKing, toxicity, and manipulation. Today's video sponsor is Raid Shadow Legends. Now, it's the hottest free game of all time, available not only on mobile, but PC as well. Now, this game has millions of different champion combinations, and you'll never get bored because you can constantly switch up the way you play. Use my QR code or the links below to download Raid for yourself to use on your mobile phone or PC. Now, two of my all-time favorite champions gotta be Queen Eva and Venus. Venus is an extremely versatile offensive support. I mean, just look at her. How can you not love this woman? And don't tell my wife. Now, don't even get me started about Queen Eva. You might recognize her as one of the bosses from the campaign, but she's also one of the greatest champions you could pick. Now, this month is huge for Raid. They just released a brand new faction, the Sylvan Watchers, with some amazing new champions. Forest Elves, Ints, Druids, Fays. They're all here, and I can't wait to try them out. They also have the new Forge Pass, which gives you access to some of the most powerful gear in the game. By the way, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you get exclusive Raid rewards. Now, all GameLeap viewers get a free starter pack worth almost $30 with the free champion Vergis and all this cool in-game loot. You'll find these rewards in your inbox in the next 30 days only, so do yourself a favor and give Raid a shot for free. There's never been a better time, so new players, use our link or scan the QR code right here on the screen. Now he says this, quote, "We do not soften RR loss due to AFK for two major reasons, toxicity and manipulation. If you were to lose less RR due to an AFK, bad actors would bully the lowest player on the scoreboard in an attempt to get them to AFK, so they would lose less RR. This would then perpetuate as a common thing because it would be such a benefit to your rank to do so. This would create a gameplay benefit to be toxic, which is extremely scary. Next, it could be manipulated to lower the RR for a friend. Players could try to get into the same games with the goal of AFK to help their friend lose less RR if they were to lose. It would make boosting easier because boosters would have their RR/MMR go down, keeping an account lower MMR while also helping boost someone else. It would introduce a negative goal to players. This is how design thinks of these things. Like they're saying, the efficient way to climb is to have someone AFK, when what they want is, we want to climb. This would also lead people to giving up in game sooner, to bully/force AFK, and more games would be thrown. This isn't tackling the problem head on. If we were to reduce AFKs, we would need to refund/reduce RR or the impact of your games. I'm not on the SPD team that tackles this, but I know that they're always working on stuff like this and know that the game devs takes time. I hope that we can get to a place where everyone is happy and doesn't have to worry about AFKs. We will always be on the road to improve the game, and it may take some time, but all your frustrations and feedback help guide us to the solutions. Now, this is actually really insightful to me because one of the suggestions that I brought up in the past is that if someone went AFK, you would just punish that player's RR and make it so every single person that was still in the lobby actually didn't lose as much because they had little control over the game, right? And they're not gonna lose anywhere near as much. Now, call me naive, but I never thought of the possibility of people actually bullying someone to get them to AFK so that they wouldn't lose as much rank. But thinking about it, it seems like an incredibly real possibility, which absolutely makes a ton of sense, and that could be incredibly frustrating. Now, there are a couple of things, though, that I think they could put in place to make it so if an AFK does happen, it's less frustrating. The first one is a remake. I think a remake should not take everyone remaining to vote. I've seen it before, and I know you have too, where someone doesn't want to vote or they actually are super toxic, so they intentionally vote the other way. I think that if someone is AFK and you vote for a remake, it should just remake automatically. In addition to that, it perhaps should be a little bit more forgiving about a remake, although that is another thing that could be exploited. So I'm sure they could find a happy medium there, but in the current system, it does feel unfair to people that just actually have someone AFK right off the bat or soon after the start of the game. Now, Evermore actually blessed us with a little bit more knowledge with the second ranked Fact Friday stating this, quote, losing to or winning against a player far from your rank doesn't heavily affect our MMR. Unless you are a boosted or below your true MMR ranked manipulation, we use data to tune the MMR formula and it knows how every rank should perform against each other. Now, basically how he breaks this down is that when you're up against a player that is above you in rank, it actually has some sort of algorithm for how effective on average you should be against that person. Whether it's 30 to 40% is effective, whether it's 90% is effective, whether it's 15% less effective, whatever the case may be. So if you're in a 5 stack and you are a player that is lower than average, but you're going up against better players, like let's say you're stacking with a whole bunch of people that are higher than you on average in rank and you go up against the enemy's best player. Let's say you're like a silver and they're like a diamond, hypothetically, but you perform really well against that player, you will actually have exceeded the algorithm or what the system expected of you in that matchup. Now, it's not just a direct matchup. Of course, things like assists and combat percentage matter and a whole bunch of different things. But the actual takeaway here is that if you perform better than what the system thinks you will perform up against players that are higher rank, you will get actually rewarded by your MMR changing. So if you are that player that goes up against a better player, like if you get matched up against someone that's better than you in your lobbies, higher ranked than you, and you perform very, very well in that game and even up against them in situations where they are interacted, then you will get rewarded for that. In addition to that, if you are getting stomped by someone that is better than you based on their rank and their MMR, then you will not lose nearly as much MMR because the system expects you to be less effective on average against that person. It's a fairly complex system, but Evermore goes on to say, quote, some MMR systems are more or less accurate and some games are better than others in tweaking and tuning their formula. So while this is how almost all of our games do it, there's a ton of little things and tweaks that can make it perform better or worse. But it's really interesting that this is how the system works, and this is one of the ways that you can prove yourself. So if you go up against players in a game and you're like, what the heck, why am I being placed against people in this rank or that rank? See that as an opportunity to prove that you deserve a rank up, prove that you deserve a big boost in your MMR. And I think that that's really interesting, and I'm really glad that Evermore is very transparent with all these numbers because it definitely helps us understand a lot of the reasons why they balance things in certain ways or why they make or don't make a certain decision. And I absolutely love the transparency here, but thank you so much for coming by. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.